I'm Ann Trites. I'm Director of Marketing and Communications at Yale Repertory Theatre. I'm going to share 3 examples of how taking the time to question marketing assumptions has led to cost savings and significant revenue gains at Yale Repertory Theatre. What we did wasn't terribly difficult. We decided to challenge some beliefs that informed our marketing decisions with data analysis. You may already be doing this at your organizations, but if not, I hope to show you that it's worth it. In the past, we largely relied on extensive and often expensive market research done by outside consultants. While there is certainly still a need for this, we have access to more data about our audiences than ever before, and an opportunity to learn from this data on our own. Today, thanks to improved CRM systems and tools that can be used by practitioners, we can make many important discoveries with greater ease and speed. The CRM system we use at Yale Rep is Tessitura. T-Stats is Tessitura's user-friendly data analysis tool that complements Tessitura's reporting. It allows you to browse data and create dynamic reports and graphs using a simple drag-and-drop method. Information allows us to make better decisions. Better decisions equal better results. We all know that. But how many of us have made decisions without analysis simply because we didn't have the luxury of time? The examples I'm going to share with you are pretty simple, didn't take a great deal of time, and led to improved results. In other words, debunking marketing myths is worth your time. Our first myth today: we must advertise in newspapers to sell tickets. Yale Rep is in a competitive marketplace. Our audience comes from Greater New Haven, which has a population of about 1 million. Greater New Haven is home to Long Wharf and Shubert theaters. Hartford Stage and Westport Country Playhouse are nearby, and New York City is only an hour and a half away. Thus, awareness is important to attract patrons, and newspapers have always seemed an obvious place in which to have a presence. We have advertised for years in the local and nearby city newspapers. 7 years ago, we learned from market research that these 2 newspapers were important sources of information for our current and prospective buyers. 40% of our audience consulted the nearby city newspaper and 32% the local paper. We assumed that this pattern would continue, perhaps not in print, but most certainly we thought it would continue in online versions of the papers. Several years of budget cuts have led us to evaluate every aspect of our campaigns and costs to ensure we were getting the maximum return with each tactic. One of our biggest expenditures was print advertising. Our first step was conducting an online survey to find out what sources of information our audiences consulted for arts and entertainment. We believe sources used by current audience members would be similar to prospective audiences. Armed with this information, we could determine where we should be investing our resources to attract and maintain single-ticket buyers. Our assumption was incorrect. Things had changed. In 2011, we learned that the nearby city newspaper print version was consulted by 17% of patrons, with 12% consulting the online version. Clearly, we would continue our investment in the nearby city newspaper. The print version of the local paper, on the other hand, was consulted by 3% and 0% for the online version. Using T-Stats, we broke the numbers down further to determine which single-ticket patrons were consulting the print version of the local paper. Most turned out to be discount buyers, patrons who purchased $20 tickets for 3 preview performances offered for each production. These performances generally sold out. Since we had email addresses for most of these buyers, the data made the decision clear. We could save money and cut all advertising in the local newspaper. So back to our myth. We must advertise in newspapers to sell tickets? No. But just a minute. If we cut advertising, do we run the risk of losing all reviews and editorial coverage? Is editorial truly separate from advertising? One could argue the need for reviews in a newspaper most of our target audiences didn't read was wasted money, but we needed the review quotes for other promotions. So, despite the logic of the data, we reduced our advertising buy, but we didn't cut it. And, thankfully, we didn't lose press coverage. Realizing that things change quickly, we knew we needed to conduct a survey about our audience sources for arts and entertainment more often. We now do so annually. By 2013, only 2 years later, things had certainly changed. This time, we separated newspaper reviews from ads in the survey. By doing this, we discovered that only 3% of patrons consulted ads in the print version of the nearby city paper, but 9% consulted reviews. Also, while nobody was consulting ads in the online version of either paper, 7% consulted reviews in the online version of the nearby city paper. We canceled all print advertising in the nearby city newspaper immediately and shifted our investment to digital advertising, and sales did not decline. Let me take just a moment to share some of the other results this survey revealed that were not related to print advertising. We found this information compelling, and you may want to consider whether there are myths in your organization around these findings that might be debunked too. For example, email from other sources increased from 13 to 16% since the last survey 2 years ago. Email from other sources includes emails forwarded by other organizations or individuals or groups on our behalf. Word of mouth also increased from 4 to 10%. We don't think this had much to do with marketing. Rather, we think this is a result of the work on stage. Search engines remained steady at 10%, but direct mail declined from 12 to 7. We're still investing quite heavily in direct mail, but we'll monitor the effectiveness with this annual survey, as well as response rates from each list. We're also doing some A/B testing on direct mail and email to measure effectiveness. Email remains steady, increasing by 1% to 7. We have tested emails to determine how frequently we can send them, which turned out to be weekly. So we can't increase the frequency without the threat of opt-outs, but we can invest more time in content and design to better the effectiveness. In the original survey, Facebook wasn't even considered a source of information. We have since made a greater investment in content and postings. This resulted in growth to 6%. Twitter increased slightly as well. We are continuing to improve our presence and content on each platform and anticipate growth in social media as a source when we next conduct this survey. Now, back to newspapers. We must advertise in newspapers to sell tickets. No, definitely no. Our second myth for today: seniors need discounts. We introduced dynamic pricing in 2010 for the production of Compulsion, starring Mandy Patinkin. We believed demand for tickets would increase with Patinkin in the lead role. As soon as we learned about Patinkin's casting, which was over 3 months before the first performance, we increased all prices to the top ticket price. Exceptions included students and members of the Yale community. As houses reached 70, 80, and 90%, we increased prices again. We also eliminated all senior discounts. In fact, some senior prices more than doubled from $40 to $82. Seniors turned out to be less price resistant than we thought. They continued to purchase tickets at full price, with a mere 3 complaints, all of whom purchased. Before our experiment with Compulsion, senior discounts ranged from 22 to 29% off regular prices. Although there were no stars in the following season, we narrowed the gap between senior and full price tickets and have continued to narrow the gap every year. Senior discounts now range from 4 to 6%, and there are no discounts offered for weekend performances. Almost 60% of our subscribers are seniors, and we've received few complaints and no drop in sales. We are very close to eliminating all senior discounts. So, seniors need discounts? Apparently not. Our final myth for today: millennials, in this case 20-something students, are attracted to cutting-edge, contemporary work. There are almost 12,000 students attending Yale University, which is obviously a key target for Yale Rep. The average age is 27. The biggest seller is the 6-ticket student pass, but we also sell some 4-ticket packages. We sell about 1,200 of these packages each season, but of course we'd like to sell more. The packages are very flexible. Student pass tickets can be used in any combination for plays and dates of their choice, and there are no exchange fees. Passes are easy to purchase and redeem online, and they're cheap. A 6-ticket pass breaks down to only $10 a ticket. So, we offer low prices, flexibility, and ease of use. Clearly, there are no packaging or pricing barriers. To help attract students, the majority of photos used in student pass promotions have been of contemporary productions. We believe the more cutting-edge our look, the better. At the end of our 11-12 season, we decided to confirm our assumptions about student programming preferences. Using T-Stats, we looked at 2 simple reports: price type and production genres. We discovered we could not have been more wrong. Classics were the preferred genre. Only 38% preferred new work. Although the findings surprised us, the more we thought about it, the more it all made sense. How much theater can the average 27-year-old have seen? Of course they're going to be interested in the recognizable instead of something unknown. Assuming students are attracted to new work is as egregious as assuming most seniors prefer classics. So, millennials, 20-something students, are attracted to cutting-edge contemporary work? Well, not nearly as many as we thought. These are all pretty basic findings. They didn't require very sophisticated analysis, but they made a big difference. We're pretty accustomed to challenging just about everything now in our marketing work at Yale Rep. When we have a pricing meeting, for example, at least one person in the room is on T-stats, finding information on the spot. Some of our demands for information can be answered that quickly. Of course, we can get carried away at times by questioning absolutely everything. We temper this tendency by prioritizing analyses. Questions such as, how important is that segment to us? And, do we really need to invest in analysis in this area right now? Help a great deal. Not all decisions are based on research or analysis, but an increasing number are, and the results of our strategies have definitely improved. Based on our experience, debunking marketing myths is worth your time. Thank you.